All right, one of your assignments is the descriptive data project, and I want to kind of go over that and give you some instructions now. This assignment is a repeatable assignment. I hope and expect everybody to get all the credit. You can return it in if you don't get everything right the first time. You can keep doing that until you either get everything right or you run out of the semester and I'll grade whatever's right at that point. But I expect most people to, and some people are going to turn this in the first time and get everything right. Some people we're going to have to go back and forth 4 or 5 times, and that's okay. My objective is for you to learn how to do this rather than, well, you guessed wrong, I'm sorry, we're out of luck. That's it. So I want you to get this right. So it called up a couple of things. First of all, let's talk about the instrument. If you will look on D2L, you will see a survey that looks like this. It's under content and descriptive data or data project or whatever I've called it. I think it's sample survey. Well, there are some I have 10 completed surveys for you to work on, but the one's just a blank sample survey. Okay, descriptive stats. That's what we tended to call it. I think that's what I call it. Okay. All right. So if you look at the top of the instrument, I'm not sharing it, am I? Make sure you guys at home can see it. Excuse me. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. This is a blank one, and the top of the instrument has some demographic information it asks for. Gender, age, and status, whether you're student or non-student. Age is categorical. And then there are 2 pages. The first page is, they're all Likert scale or Likert type scales, 1 to 5, and it's on the first page, and then 6 through 15 are on the second page. Now notice the format's a little different between the first 5 and the last 10. This instrument measures 2 things: feelings, questions 1 through 5, and attitudes in questions 6 through 10. Feelings and attitudes. So 1 through 5 are questions, and you respond with how comfortable you feel in the particular situation. We're going to call that feelings. 6 through 15 are statements to which you agree or disagree to some extent. So the format's a little different. The 6 through 15 are going to be used to measure attitudes. So feelings 1 through 5, attitudes 6 through 15. Let's look at 1 through 5 a minute first. Very comfortable, we will associate with high feeling. Very uncomfortable, we'll associate with low feeling. So the way we're going to score this, let me get an example up that actually is a pre-scored one, just to kind of save time, if I can figure out where I did that. Oh, I know where it is. Here's a completed worksheet or a completed survey. So 1 through 5, a great example. I don't like that example. Okay, all right. 1 through 5, we're just going to add the responses together. In this case, a 3 plus a 3 plus a 3 plus a 1 plus a 3 is going to be 13? So that person's feeling score is going to be 13. Simple enough? Of course it is. That's why I put a twist in for the last part, or the next part. So for number 1 through 5, to measure feeling, in this case, it's a 13. Now, hang on. Okay. For the attitude measurements, 6 through the end, let me say a word about attitudes. Sometimes we use the word attitude, well, a lot of times we use the word attitude incorrectly. We say that maybe you've heard of a student who some teacher said perhaps one time he's got a bad attitude. Perhaps. There's really no such thing as a bad attitude, or a good attitude for that matter. Attitudes aren't good or bad, they're positive or negative. And that's not necessarily good or bad. We all have positive and negative attitudes toward different things. You know, things we like, we may have a positive attitude toward reading. Some of our students may have a negative attitude toward reading. And yeah, that would be, yes, less than desirable, but the example is, I have a pretty negative attitude toward childhood sexual abuse. I would argue that's proper. So it's not, positive doesn't mean good, negative doesn't mean bad. Positive or negative, it just kind of, so we're just looking for positive or negative. So we're going to rate higher numbers are going to be more positive, lower numbers are going to be less positive. So this is a gender attitude part of the survey where attitude being positive towards, say, openness and, for example, number 6, is it acceptable for women to initiate dates? What do you think, which would be more indicative of a positive attitude, the 5 or the 1? Not what you like or what you think, but positive toward the openness. Okay, 5 would be more indicative of a positive. So we'd score that. If somebody circled a 5, we're going to score it a 5. This person scored it a 1, circled a 1, we're going to score it a 1. It is acceptable for men to be homemakers while wives work. Which end would be positive? Or more positive? In terms of openness, again, yeah. 5 would be more positive. Women should not have to pay for that. Don't let the negative throw you off in there. The negative throw you off with the positive and negative stuff. But which way would be indicative of a more positive attitude toward openness? Would you agree or disagree with that to indicate openness? You would disagree. This is a reverse-worded question. Now, why do we put in things like that? Yeah, so we don't just Christmas tree and go, I think you want all 5s for me, or I'm just going to be mean and put all 1s. Well, so you kind of create a greater likelihood that people think about the questions, because it would be consistent to put, in this particular example, it's consistent with the person to circle a 5 on number 8 and a 1 on number 6. That's a consistent answer. So what we're going to do, though, is because this is reverse worded, we're going to reverse score it. So how many points am I going to count as 5? I'm going to count as 5 as 1 point. So number 8 is a reverse worded question. Hang on a second, I need to move things over because my monitor just died and I can't see what you're seeing. Okay. Are you seeing the questionnaire? No, I can't tell. Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, so what other questions are reverse worded besides number 8? Number 9 is reverse worded. So far we have 8 and 9. What others are? Number 12 is reverse worded, so we have 8, 9, and 12. Sorry, I'll show you the one that's filled out. Number 14 is reverse worded. Says one of the wife of one of the married couples here. It's probably good you didn't come to class together tonight. So, okay, yeah. Yes, number 14 is reverse worded. Yeah, Charles hadn't identified that one yet. So, and number 15 is also reverse worded. So reverse worded, we've got 8, 9, 12, 14, and 15. So this person's attitude score is going to be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 for number 10 plus 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 5 plus 4. Somebody tell me what that adds up to. I wasn't keeping up with it. Okay, 24. So the person's attitude score is going to be 24. Now, let me add one caveat. If we were doing real research on this, I would probably take the average score and divide this by 10 and say a 2.4 because I could kind of compare that to the midpoint. But yeah, I'm just looking at a raw score here. I'm not making any comparisons like that with it. So normally, if I've got a 1 to 5 scale, I'm probably going to get a 1 to 5 measurement. So, but maybe I'll redo the assignment that way. All right, so that's how you score a questionnaire. Now, you've got 10 of these on your D2 also. So the first thing to do is score the questionnaires for both feelings and attitudes. And you're going to get something like, oh, I don't have it. Never mind. I'll get it. There it is. Nope, I lost something. Hang on. Well, rats. Here. Nope. Well, actually, I usually do it that way. If it wasn't online, I would do it that way. But I wouldn't make you administer the 10 surveys. I would give you 10 different, yeah. But it's hard to do that online. But I may work up to that someday. Pardon me for the interruption. I thought I had a document open, but I don't. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to do, I should have printed this off, is I want you to calculate or score 10 people's feelings and attitude scores. Give me a second while I copy these. Like I say, I thought I had this in front of me, but I didn't. Okay. And if let's say I'm going to enter this into SPSS, I'm just going to run a set for you right now. It won't take long. And I'm going to say, I'm going to call my variables. So go to variable view, feelings, and attitudes. Click off the cell. Go back to data view, so those become column headings. And for person number 1, I had a feeling score of 12 and an attitude score of 40. Person number 2, I happen to have a 19 and a 43. Person number 3, 14 and 28. Then 20 and 23. 25 and 41. 16 and 43. 12 and 40. 18 and 23. 11 and 21. 15 and 21. So I've got a bunch of feeling scores and attitude scores, and they're paired together, much like those correlations were, hint, hint, hint. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that data, the word data is plural. I tell students that all the time when they try to write otherwise, I say it myself. We're going to use those data to answer these questions. Now, the first 4 questions, let me just give you the answer, well, let's just figure the answers out together now. If you're online and you're able to see the chat box, I can't see it right now, so tell me if anybody weighs in on something. My iPad died. If you can do it, maybe if you could do it on your phone even, that'd be good. Otherwise, like I said, online folks, if you may want to activate your microphone and ask a question, or I'll go back and look and see if there are questions at the end. Okay, the first question is, what type of scale is used to assess the variable, should be the variables, gender and status? So the type of data, and by the type of data, I mean the very first session of class we talked about nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So one of those numbers, actually those numbers, this is multiple choice for all 4 of those. So the questionnaire asks for, what I say, gender and status, is that what I said? Yeah, gender and status. So here's gender, here's status. What kind of data is this? Either male, female, or student and non-student, in terms of nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. Something's working. Quit, stop something.
We have lost sound.
Working. Now it's working. I could tell what it got kicked off. So that happens when I change screens sometimes. Okay.
We have lost sound again. Lost sound.
Hey, you've got it back. Okay, once again, what kind of data?
Sound again.
It's back. I'm afraid. That's back. Okay, what kind of data?
Gone again.
Okay, look at the way I asked for age. It may have something to do with it. If I've given you presenter status, you're changing it. Might have. Try just turning it down instead of turning it off. Okay. All right, let's try again then. So far, so good. Okay. 28th time. Take 28. What type of data is used to assess age? The way I asked for it here. Say again. Well, if someone checks, depending on where someone checks, do you know anything about them compared to somebody who checks somewhere else? Can any kind of comparison be made? If someone checks in the first block and someone checks the second block, what do you know about those two people? The person who checks the first category compared to the first person who checks the second category. Do you know anything about their comparative ages? Well, but then generally. There you go. We know one is older. We know who's older. We know who's younger. Do we know by how much? So there's at least an order here, as an ordinal. But if two people check, one person checks the first two boxes, their age may be, the difference in age may be as little as 1, or it may be as much as, 19. All you know is the second person is older than the first person, but you don't know by how much. So you don't know what the interval is. So what do you have if you've got the order but you don't have the interval? The answer to number 2 is ordinal. Now, if I ask you what your age is, and you write down a number, that's ratio data. Because I know I can compare ages, I know how much, I know 30 years is twice as old as 15, and so on. But the way I ask it is ordinal. The next question is, So number 2 is ordinal. What type of scale or data is used to assess items 1 through 5? That's that 1 to 5 circling. For example, item number 5. Just look, I'm item number 1. If someone circles a 3 and someone else circles a 4, do you know which is higher? And the answer is yes. Do you know how much higher it is? And the answer is yes, it's 1 point higher. Is 4 twice as much as 2? No, it's not here. Yeah, but look, you have to look at my scale, where I'm moving the cursor. You can't just hear my questions 4 twice as much. So yes, it is, but it doesn't mean twice as much on this scale as a 2 does on this scale. So this is interval data. Remember, we said most of our educational data is interval data. So the answer to question number 3 is interval. Question number 4 is the same question. It just asks it about a different set of numbers, 6 through 10. That is still interval data. So you've got the first 4. Don't anybody miss the first 4 of these, please? Don't anybody miss the first 4? We did the answers. Okay. Now for my data, which looks like, not that. Looks like, not this either. Looks like this. For my data, it looks like this. So I've got 1 through 10 feelings. I've got 1 through 10 attitude. The next question asks me to use the total scores that you've calculated for each of the 2 feelings about gender, numbers 1 through 5. It should be a S there, not an X, and attitude toward gender roles. That's number 6 through 15. Set up a grouped frequency distribution for each of the 2 sets. And don't forget the reverse scoring for the numbers that you mentioned. So I've got 2 frequency distributions. This is what a frequency distribution is. If you have trouble with this, you might want to look back over Chapter 2, but their examples aren't going to be probably any better than these are. I had, for the feeling score, I had one person, and I just made the interval 23 to 25. You can make it whatever works for your numbers. You're not going to have the same numbers I'm running here. Had one person in the 20 to 22 range, had 2 people in the 17 to 19 range, 3 in the 14 to 16, 3 in the 11 through 30. Again, I made these intervals up. Key things, the intervals, they have to be the same size for every category. Can't have any gaps, can't have any overlaps. My categories for attitudes probably aren't as good because I've got this couple of zeros right there. I probably should have made this, I don't know, 37 to 43 or something like that. But it's not a real good category, but it still is a frequency distribution. So we have, this is summary data, but it's not detailed data. Now my next questions. Yes. No. The question is, do the intervals need to be the same size for both fields? No, and it wouldn't make sense if they were, because you've got a larger spread of numbers for attitudes than feelings. So no, they don't have to. Yeah, do a frequency distribution for feelings. Do a separate frequency distribution for attitudes. They don't have to be the same. You don't even have to have the same number of categories. Good question. Thank you. The next things I'm asked for feelings and attitudes, but mode, median, mean, range, variance, standard deviation. I'm going to take my data And there's more than one way you can do this. I'm going to go to Analyze, and this is Descriptive Statistics. I could go to Descriptives and get a lot of this stuff, but I'm going to go to Frequencies and get a lot more. I'll show you why in a minute. It's under Analyze Descriptives, yes. So I want both feelings and attitudes. I'm going to move them over from left to right. I'm going to click Statistics. Okay. Analyze Descriptive Frequencies. Here. Yeah, Analyze Descriptive Statistics, I should say. Descriptive Statistics. Over to Frequencies. Move both. And yeah, you will punch the exact same buttons I punch it here. Move the feelings and attitudes over. Click Statistics. And I want mean, median, mode. I want standard deviation, variance, range. Did I ask for minimum and maximum? I don't remember. I didn't. So I don't want that. Whatever I asked for. I think those are the ones I've asked for. Yeah. I mean, you know, go from the questions. Oh, look, I even have some things like standard error of the mean. Remember that one? Didn't ask for it. I should have now, but I didn't. But I could get it to calculate it. So continue. And when I click OK, I'm going to get an output window with all this information on it. And there it is. I've got mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, and range for both feelings and attitudes. Now, notice something about the mode for attitudes. I've got a little footnote here that says I've got more than one of them. This is the first one. So 21, if 21 is a mode, in this case, 21 shows up 2 times, but also 23 shows up 2 times, and 40 shows up 2 times, and 43 shows up. I've got 4 modes. So you might have more than one mode, or you might not have any mode at all. Remember, it's got to show up at least 2 times for it to be a mode. But there are the answers to most of the things on my worksheet. So if I go to my worksheet and I'm going to fill out these, and their numbers are exactly what I said there. I've got 4 modes here, for example. There are the modes, median, that didn't ask for them in the same order, but mode, median, mean, range, variance, standard deviation, those are all, I copy those off the output. I want your output sheet. And I want you to circle the numbers where those come from, because I want to see where you get them. So I want to see the output sheet that has the numbers, and I want to see the numbers in the blanks. The last 2 things, 12 and 13, ask for 2 z-scores. One's above the attitude scores, one above the mean and one below the mean. Now my mean for attitude was 32.3. My standard deviation was 9.832, probably rounded off to 9.83. So I'm taking the z-score for a 23, which is below the mean, and a z-score of 40, which is above the mean, and I'm showing how I got that. That's one way of getting it. Remember the z formula, the score minus the mean divided by the standard deviation? That's the hard way. Want to see the easy way? Here's the easy way of getting those z-scores. I'm going to take my data, and I'm going to close this output window. Otherwise, I'll get confused. No, I want you to do it the easy way. But if you do it the easy way, I want to see where it comes from. And here's where I'm going to show you where it comes from. I'd rather you do it the easy way. Okay. If I go to Analyze, and then down to Descriptive Statistics, and then remember, if I go to Descriptives, I know we've done this before. We've done a lot of stuff before, so it's easy to get lost. If I go to Descriptives, and I'm going to, oops, that wasn't the right one. That's the right one. I'm only concerned about attitude scores, right? Remember this little box down here that says Save Standardized Values as Variables? If you will click that, and again, you can watch the recording when you have to rewind a little bit. So Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Descriptives. Just talk about attitudes because that's all I asked for. Click the Save Standardized Values as Variable boxes, and when I click OK, watch what happens. And I move the output window out of the way. Look at my new data view. I've got a column of z-scores for attitudes. Remember that 23 I picked a minute ago? That told me I got a z-score of negative 9.45 whatever? That's where it is. So if you will give me this, I'll see where the z-scores come from. Do it the easy way. What was the other one? I think it was 40. Here's the z-score for 40, and I got that a couple different places, actually. So yeah, do it the easy way. That's the easy way. Now the last question asked for the correlation between feelings and attitudes, and what kind of relationship that was. Remember how to get a correlation? That's been a minute or two ago. I'm going to go to Correlate, and I know I'm taking a long time on this, but I'm almost finished. I'm going to go to Correlate by Variant, and we've done a bunch of these, and I want the correlation between feelings and attitudes. I don't need means or standard deviations. I've already got that. I'm not going to click anything else over here in the option box. I'm just going to click OK to get the correlation. So my correlation is correlation is 0.18. Now my p-value is 0.62. Well, first of all, so my correlation is 0.18. That's the number I need to see. And if you'll give me the output window, I'll see where you get that from. Now, so what kind of relationship is it? Well, first of all, it's positive because 0.18 is positive. But a p-value of 0.62, does that indicate strong or weak? Remember the whole significance thing? That indicates weak. So I've got a correlation of 0.18 right there. A correlation of 0.18 against a weak positive. So if you'll give me the sheet filled out and the output windows with the data view window, which is this, so I can see you've got their data. That way I can check if you scored everything correctly. What now? There's a way you can save. You can do a save as. Yeah, and you may have to copy and paste a Word. Actually, you could copy them. You could even, well, get off there, Don. You could actually even copy and paste it like that into a Word document. I don't have to see it as an SPSS. Remember, I don't want to see it as an SPSS document. I want to see it as some kind of PDF. Likewise, I want to see your output windows. All of these that you use, I want to see those as PDFs too. Question is, would I rather be one combined PDF? Yeah, but it's not a big deal if you have it like in 3 different sets. Yeah, I can sort through that okay. But yeah, preferably one. But okay. So I need the worksheet filled out in PDF submission, the output windows in PDF submission, and the data view in PDF submission. And that will get you 100 points. Questions, will a Word document work? Yeah, a Word document will work, and I should be able to read the Word document from whatever I'm looking at this thing on. That's okay. The reason I prefer PDF is because that's even more readable. If you take a Word document, you can do a Save As, and you can tell it to Save As PDF. And you've got that option when you click Save As, and it opens up a box with a couple of windows in it, and you just select PDF. Turn that into it. And I can, if that's not clear, I can talk you through that on the phone or whatever. So that's the descriptive stat assignment. Are we all equally unhappy? That's my job. All right, so you've got the instructions for that. Again, I will take questions in whatever format you want to deliver them to me as they come up in your brains from now till the next session.